Good. I'm going to take a quick sip.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Me and Diana
Hello.
are together today. I'm loving it. We were just having the best discussion. And
Oh.
I wanted to ask Diana about we were talking about an article that I came across the day before yesterday about Carlos Castaneda and how he was exposed. And there was a lot of things that we were talking about behind the scenes that I didn't know. But I had read a number of his books and I had tried to apply what I learned there. And some of it I was able to fathom, and other parts of it I just couldn't. And so when I found he was just a big hoax and a user and abuser and trickster, and then that made a lot more sense. So, but then I thought, I also had wanted to know about Diana's upbringing because she was raised with many traditions. Her family was strongly Catholic and Polish and witches. So I would think with roots that deep, you probably spotted this or heard about Carlos Castaneda in his heyday and probably recognized that as not being accurate.
Well, and I'm old enough to have, to have been, I could have been one of his, I could have
Yeah,
been at
exactly.
UCLA. I could have been
One of
one
his
of his
followers.
followers.
Yeah,
But there
I
is
know.
something about those people that just, the guardians are around me. And I mean, Charles Manson was on the Strip in 1968 in LA when I was on Hollywood Boulevard and going to the Whiskey to Go Go
Oh,
and all that stuff. And
yeah.
one day he was just standing on the corner, and I'm walking. There's this big hill next to the Whiskey a Go Go, and I'm walking down this hill, getting ready to go into the club, and I look at this guy who had piercing eyes.
Oh, did
And he
he?
was quite handsome back in those days.
Yeah,
A hippie dude and
yeah.
hippie chicks all around him. But nobody was with him. He was just standing on the corner by himself.
Uh-huh.
And I looked at him and I kept looking at him. And he kept looking at me. And I walked past him. And I was shaking my head no as I walked past him, telling myself, don't look at this dude no more. There's something wrong with this man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sure enough, we found out not too
Yeah.
far long late after that,
Yeah.
there was.
Yeah.
So the same thing with Carlos, like I tried to get into his books
Mm-hmm.
and I just couldn't. It was like, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
I can remember sitting in Barnes and Nobles, and that's when they had leather chairs all over the place, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
sit
Yeah.
down and read a whole damn book if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. That was cool, wasn't it? That was
Yeah,
cool.
it was. I miss those days. I miss
Well,
those.
when I went to Barnes and Noble, they used to have coffee in there too. So you could get a cup of
Oh,
tea or a
yeah.
cup of coffee. You could sit somewhere comfortable and
Yep.
look to your heart's content.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they probably sold a whole lot more books that way
I think so.
because, it's a good meeting place, you know?
It is. It really
Brainiacs
is.
show up.
Oh, well, and you
Even
can
in the
wander
kids
there.
section.
Well, Paul and I we'd meet at the coffee. We'd split up, we'd go in together, and then we'd both wander around through our own interests and then meet back up, and discuss what we'd found or show each other what we'd found. And yeah, it was really cool to walk through metaphysical and new age books. And
Oh,
he'd head over to comic books and the things that he was
oh, yeah.
interested in.
And
And
art.
yeah, and art and cookbooks and all kinds of fun things. And you'd
Yeah.
always have to hit what was on sale and what was at clearance.
Right.
See
Sometimes
if
you
there's,
found some good greeting cards
yeah,
and
exactly,
journal books.
exactly. And little tiny mannequins that you could use for drawing,
Yeah.
all kinds of cool things and stickers and yeah, all kinds of fun and gifts. You could get really cool gifts for other people there.
You just made me think, where the heck did I put my mannequin?
Oh, my grandkids have twisted mine all up. Mine now stands a little funny because because it's been played with a
They went a
lot.
little too far on the torquing.
A little bit. But you know, I had a feeling when I read Carlos Castaneda had what I was told. I could be wrong. You'll have to help me out. But her name, and I love this book, and I've used it, and it's helped me. It was written by Taisha Ablar. She wrote a book called Sorcerer's Crossing, where she described every lover a woman has ever had has left for entertainment purposes only, an energetic bookmark, if you will, in her womb, in her energy. So if later on a woman would have all of a sudden out of the blue would think about some old lover she had, it wasn't actually the way it was described in that book. It was because his energy was calling on her, calling on her. And so when I read that, I was like, hold the phone, stop everything. And in the book called The Sorcerer's Crossing, which I've recommended to tons of people, she sat in a cave by herself and she did specific breathing where she would breathe and turn her head and then release. And so she would bring up every memory of each lover, every bit of it, hold, call back her power, release his energy, release that energy. And so I did that for a long time. And that works whether it was willing or not willing.
Well, that's,
You
see,
know, and it helped me.
there's validity in that, but
Yeah.
even at that, it wasn't anything new because breath work has been in every culture for all its history. And I'm not trying to dispel what she had said because what she said
Right.
is the truth. But she's probably not the inventor of it. She probably heard it from her grandmother, as I heard it from mine.
Oh.
My grandmother, was born in 1896. So she's a gay 20s kind of gal, right?
Oh, okay.
And the tail
Fun
end of the
times.
Victorian era. And their whole thing is, she said to me one day, you think you kids, me of the teenagers of the 60s,
Yeah.
you think you guys invented sex? I got news for you.
Yeah. How do you
We've
think
been
you
doing
got
it
here?
a long time. We just
Yeah.
didn't tell everybody about it. We kept it
Yeah.
secret.
Yeah.
It was more fun that way. And she's probably right.
Yeah. There's been so many tales told about power by keeping things secret, by withholding it from some people. I don't know why people who start cults do behave the way they do, but I believe that they have something to learn, as do the people who get drawn to them. They all have something to learn, and they're teaching something for those of us who are paying attention to use our own discernment as to what we will buy into and how we want to walk our path. But I want to say hi because we get to talking and I forget what I'm doing. Hi, Nadia. Hi, Barbara. Thank you so much. Hi, Barbara Bergman. I have to use a different set of things because I'm on a different computer. Jax, hey, Fogo Pogo, Kim Princess. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, she's saying, oh my God, what a cute dog. That's Grizzly. Yep. Warrior Widows on replay speed, trying to get caught up with us. Used to live in bookstores as well. Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Cool.
me too.
No, there's nothing like the smell of fresh print on paper.
Yes, or an old bookstore. My dad used to
That's even
drive.
better. You can smell
Yeah,
everybody's dirt.
my dad used to
All
drive
of
over
our oils.
from the other side of the mountains,
And you can
he'd
find
pick me
well-loved
up.
books that way,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even though it was all made up by him, he was making up stuff that we already, he was just finding a new way to say a lot of the things. What was in dispute is the existence of Juan Carlos. Not Juan Carlos.
Don Juan. Yeah, who
Don
didn't
Juan.
exist. Yeah.
Right, Miguel. He
Yeah.
did not exist. And he needed to have proof of it, and he refused to defend it. And then later, when people went looking for this fella, they went and discovered he never existed, period. So, it's not finding a new way to say the same stuff is
Yeah.
not the issue, but
Yeah.
backing it up is what you have to do when you're, working on a thesis and a doctorate.
Well, when you're claiming to be, yeah, to be all knowledgeable, yeah, and a person who was truthful would be willing to back that up.
Right.
That's so cool, Nadia. That is so cool. I
Yeah.
love that. I absolutely love that. Exchanging ideas and books, it's the best thing. Well, one thing, after my experience with a bad teacher who was sexually abusive for entertainment purposes only, who was abusive. And when I cut off that relationship, I went back to Creator and said, okay, just you and me, Creator. I will keep walking this path, but I will find different ways to do it that doesn't include having other teachers. So this was one of the sources that I found was his, I would try for hours to stare in a mirror until I disappeared. That didn't work. I did astral traveling, but I was able to actually do that. I did that for quite some time. I could never get past the roof. I kept getting stuck in the roof.
Up
but
in
I
the rafters, eh?
but I also had a small child. And
puts new meaning to bats in the belfry, hey?
that's right. That's right. But I learned a lot during that period, and I think it makes it important. Like what I really love about this community is things that we share now, we share together, you know. We
Yes.
share together on how to get there, how to breathe, how to find that quiet center. What is Grizzly talking about? Are
He's
you
a
agreeing with
Gemini. He
us?
does not have a clue. He just needs to say it. Say hello to the folks.
Hi, Grizzly. Hi,
Okay.
handsome.
It's Annie.
Hi,
You gotta look at the
Grizzly.
TV to see her.
He's being all bashful now. Hi,
Now,
Alice.
yeah,
Hi,
right.
Lorraine. Lorraine and Alice have joined us. I appreciate that. And Barbara says mutant message down under. Let's see. I'm trying to remember if I read that because I remember reading this book. Phenomenal book from I know it was one of Paul's books actually, and it was about Australia. And it was about someone who was raised in the States, who was Aboriginal, who is Australian, and one who was born there, and they found each other and they were siblings. And one was an artist and drew everything from above. So when that one was introduced to the spiritual teachings of Australia, those stories are all told from above, from the Star Nation vantage point of seeing things. So it's like, it was so life affirming and weirdness affirming, like be your authentic weird self, because there's a reason for that. There's a reason you are the way you are.
Yeah.
But I think
there is.
there really is. And how did you learn as you grew? How did you learn to call your power back if you ever veered off your path and learned something really interesting, but it turned out not to be for you? How did you pull your power back?
That's a hard thing to say. To
Okay.
even, you wake up one day and you go, wait a minute, this is all wrong. But up until that point where you have that realization, it's not, you don't even recognize that you've given your power away. You think that you are doing things to keep the peace, when in reality, the only way to keep the peace is to keep it within you and say what you mean to say to those around you, rather than keeping your mouth shut and letting them have the last word. So, when I did not have the world's greatest marriage, and I would just keep my mouth shut and walk away. And then, ferment inside.
Yeah.
And the day I kicked him out of the house, his head turned around. He didn't know I had it in me.
Oh, okay.
And then when he was sick, and definitely we knew that there was no cure for his cancer. Again, there were several times where I just held off and turned around and said, blah, 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 whatever needed to come out of my mouth at the moment. And it made a world of difference in his ability to respect me, which I did not know was what I was depriving him of. You know, his ability to make an educated decision of who I really was. Because I was, seriously, there were things about him I feared, and beating is one of them, because he had such rage issues, and I had seen him do things. He took a painting off the wall that I was studying for a neighbor. It was her painting. He got home and he was plastered and said, rah, 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 and pulled it off the wall and broke it to smithereens. This is a canvas painting that was, you know, probably 24 by whatever the short side would be, because it was rectangular. Perfect
Probably
thing
20.
to donate to Starbucks back in those days, because they had all these wild, crazy out paintings. And this one was from Mexico. So it's, even its frame was ornate and painted with color cues and
beautiful,
the right colors. I mean, it all went together. And he goes, well, no, nobody has to worry about it. It's nobody's painting because it's a piece of trash, period. And all he did was see it on the wall and didn't even look at it. You know, he had no idea what it was. He thought it was something I brought home from somebody's trash bin. So it was things like that that reinforced me keeping my mouth shut, because he'd thrown beer bottles at me. He'd done things to make me know that someday
to be afraid
he's going to break. And I do not want to be the one to cause that breaking point.
Right.
Let him do it on his own. And eventually he did the final stupid trick, you know, stupid man trick, which was to have an affair with the next door neighbor. So who I just painted a mural for. So the whole 52 hours I was painting a mural, they knew where I was, and they were off having their fun. I threw a surprise birthday party for him and he didn't show up. And it's the night where he always goes to this bar because it's dollar night. So food everywhere, all of our friends and all this other stuff. He was off with somebody else's wife.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, and it's neither here nor there. Thank you for that, but you know, I always figured he's a barfly. Of course he is. He's flirting with everything on 2 feet, but except me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I knew that he had a hard relationship with his mother.
That's really no excuse to treat you poorly. That's no excuse.
Right. And just, I think a lot of it is the women that raise us, you know, as to how we deal with things like that. And even the church teaches patience, and having been raised Catholic, you know.
And it sees suffering as a virtue.
Right. Yeah. Suffer to be beautiful is what Donna always said when she's combing my hair, which you can see some days is hard to do. We'll just go with dreadlocks. Thank you.
Hi, Carolyn. Hi, J Cat Lady. Hi, Cardamancy. Thank you for being here with us. Well, I know there was one particular person I called out, and I told him what you are doing is wrong. I was your apprentice for a year, and what you're doing is wrong. And he invited me over to look in a hood so that he could hit my head in this car hood. And that was the moment I felt bear, that I was standing inside of a bear when I called that out. But you know, when I cut off I cut off all contact with my entire tribe. And that hurt, because I had just put my foot in to be connected. And after that period, I now didn't feel welcome. I went to one of the elders of the tribe at that time. And I said, you know, what that person is doing is wrong. And he's done this to other women and he's done it to me. And it's wrong. And no one to this day believes me, but the guy's eyes turned all red. His whole eyeball turned red in his head. And I had my friend Ron with me because I would never go there alone ever after that. I never went alone. I always took someone with me, and Ron went with me, and he saw it too. He's no longer living, but he saw it too. And so there has been a pattern. There has been a pattern of men stealing women's energy. There
Oh, yeah.
has been a pattern of abuse, and oftentimes it's dressed in religion. It's dressed in some spirituality of some kind, and it's all wrong. Thank you, Kim. It's all wrong. It's always been wrong. It always will be wrong. And
It's,
we are living at a time where we are calling our power back. And we're
yeah.
not afraid to say, hey, I made a mistake. And no, this is not for me. And I call my power back. Hi, Christy. And I think
Anybody,
we're living in a time where we're doing that,
well, and
you know?
anything that says, I need to be your leader in
Yeah,
order for you to do this
yeah.
is immediately a power grab.
That's a
So
red
Carlos did
flag.
it, and
Yeah,
what's
all
his face?
sorts,
You
all
know, the
sorts.
Catholic Church,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
holy, the holy tent
all,
people. You
I'm sorry,
know,
but all religions say, you know,
exactly.
through me,
It's a,
you can meet your creator.
and
And it's
it's not,
all bullshit.
and it is. It's to the vulnerable
Yeah,
men as well, because it puts
yeah,
them on this pedestal.
yeah,
And you know, and it's all part of, it is cyclical. It's all part of the cycle of that Kali Yuga that we're just getting out of, that 24,000 year cycle
yes,
that has come
yes.
to an end.
And
And
you know,
now we're going,
women,
well, we're
yeah,
going into
yeah,
Shakti Yuga. So
okay.
now this is a return of the
Mhm.
divine feminine brings back the divine masculine
Yes,
and doesn't punish
yes,
him for wanting
yes,
to have balance in his life and for
yes,
knowing that it is human nature to cry and that
yeah,
you don't have to have a fist over anybody.
yeah, yep. That's
So,
absolutely
I
true.
mean, Vikram, the yoga genius, who came up with hot yoga, which I can't stand because
Never heard of him.
you're in a room with the heat pumped up to 102 degrees, and it's a
Yikes.
little room, and there's only room for comfortably 30 mats, let's say. Well, they squish them together, and now there's 60 people in this little room, and it's 104. Who can breathe?
I
Even
saw
if you
a
were in India, you'd
documentary.
be seeking shade to do your
Yeah,
101 salutations on the solstice.
yeah. I saw a documentary about a yoga guy. I think I know who you're talking about.
Vikram.
And I think that's who that was. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but I remember he was a brown skinned man and he was really yelling at people and he was pretty abusive to them. And I didn't watch the whole documentary because it gave me he had a real ick factor. I was
Yeah.
just like, no, thank you. I don't need to watch garbage to know it's garbage or badness to know it's bad. You know, and
Well,
I think that's why I'm so very careful with my energy now. Like I don't watch shoot 'em ups. I don't watch scary things. I never like scary things, but I don't need that I don't need just dandelions and unicorns either. I need funny. I need funny. I need funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm careful about what I feed my mind and what I feed my body and what I feed that's just as important. I really believe that. It's just as important to protect our mental body at this time because we're visual creatures and there's so much coming at us. There's so many distractions,
Mm-hmm.
things thrown at the wall to grab our attention and to keep us from really being still enough to remember that we have creator within us.
You know, and
You
that
know?
stillness is where we wake up. Wake up,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Rumi says it in one of his poems. There's noise down in the street. Don't go back to sleep. There's action in the sky. Don't go back to sleep. And there's many different things that we can now add to it since the time of Rumi,
Yeah.
what he wrote about.
Yeah.
But it is what is going on right now, not just with the Shakti Yuga, but with this Uranus. The truth is coming out. The truth. Pluto in Aquarius is about integrity, and the truth is coming out. So between Pluto and Uranus, who are in this beautiful trine supporting each other,
Yeah.
they're bringing out the truth.
I
And
keep
then, of
trying
course,
to figure
everything else
out.
is falling into place too.
I keep guessing and trying to figure out, because I like to be clever. Like, what have I not considered? What is right in front of my eyes that I haven't realized yet? You know, when disclosure happens, a lot of people who have no current awareness of Star Nation stories, they're they don't have that awareness. They're going to have their surprise. But what about us who do understand and do know the stories about the Star Nations and how all the plants and many of the peoples come from the Star Nations,
Right.
and the animals too. I used to dream and do vision and do a wide awake journeying and going to the planets where they come from. And where they come from, they are their own people. So we're going to get a surprise too. What will that be? Do you have any ideas?
Well, they're going to be standing in your backyard. The thing is, so much of astrology and the planets and so on and so forth is based on mythology. But let's go back to remember who we are or were or where we came from. That is not mythology. It's the truth. There really was a Thor. There is a Jupiter and blah, blah, blah. And who studies what. And they cross over to each other because in one language it's Thor and in another language it's Jupiter. They're the same god. But they're not gods. It's chariots of the gods. They were coming here on those spaceships back in those days. There was no language to explain it. There was barely language. Homo sapiens sapien was just starting to arise, right? The prism of Lyra and just bringing together all of the star seed and the planets and the constellations and where they came from and where they go through. And that whole three-eye atlas, I know that what I journaled, what I witnessed is real. And it is definitely us returning with different generations on board and intermingling in between. And it came in, it took a look and it said, yeah, we can go back to Mars now. Because Mars could be inhabited. But when it first was destroyed, it couldn't. And during that destruction, Earth got lucky and didn't go through another one of those destructive phases.
Well, I tried very hard to connect with 3i. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you in any way. I got nothing. I would try to connect and I got nothing. And I thought, okay, then that means it's either not part of my mission to remember that right now. I'm here to do something else. So I didn't negate anyone else and their experience that they were having, but it just didn't ring for me. And I thought, we have stories about there being 4 different worlds, 4 previous worlds, and us here in the 5th world. Now we're in the 5th world, and we're trying this again to bring our awareness to remember our divinity, to remember that we have a place in the cosmos, and that we are treasured and loved and guided and protected at all times, and we're part of a much bigger community than we've ever even had a notion of. And
right.
There was one story I'd heard a long time ago that always sticks with me, and it was, what if you were part of a star nation, that you had learned many lessons, you had practically destroyed yourselves, and all that was left of your people was a strand of DNA. And you brought that strand of DNA to Earth, and you said, may I please gift this? May I please gift this to the storytelling planet so that my people are not lost forever. And
And
Mother would say, of course, with
sounds
great
like
love,
truth.
all life is sacred. You are welcome here. That I believe, that I absolutely believe, because when we stand in love, all the judgment falls away.
That sounds like the way it is. That sounds like the truth.
It
That they
does, doesn't it?
that strand of the DNA here
Yeah.
and crossbred with creatures on Earth. Cro-Magnon.
Well, it's where controls tried to get in, and that there were wars, that there were fights, that there were tricksters, there's always been. There's always been. And as we are calling back our power, I think that's why it feels so almost earthquakey, because we're calling back power from many different realities, not just the ones we've been told about. So I think it's okay if we just allow that to happen and stand in our divinity as strong as we can. That's what I mean by stand in your light. Just stand. And sometimes that means hanging on with both hands because the energy that's coming through might feel like an earthquake, but it's okay. Do you have a feeling about that?
Well, I think the longest inhale,
Mm.
the greatest and longest inhale you can take is taking back your power.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it is all for you.
Yep.
And how many times can we say it and how many different ways can we say it? When you stand in your truth, which is power, when you stand in your truth, what you put out comes back to you. So only people that stand in their truth. Okay. So now I could get into a confusing place also, because there are people who, to them, truth is to be, to be like dinosaurs, growl at everything and negativity. And then there's the angels over here. Everything's positive and humming and singing. And somewhere in the middle comes us, Homo sapien. And we have to figure out, how do we protect ourselves and how do we love ourselves without doing damage to others. So that's that deepest breath. You take in your power, and that power gives you the strength to make wise decisions, educated decisions. Sad things that we have to do, yet it is more beneficial for our little critters when they reach the end of their days. And it's such a struggle for them. It's more suffering than the final outcome.
Well, we went through that here in our home, and Paul said, I don't have your strength. I don't have your strength. And I think, I know this is going to sound wackadoo, but I truly believe that our womb, having a womb, giving birth, giving life. I've had 2 daughters pass away. I had one daughter died at birth. She was born, passed away. There is a depth of love that is indescribable that we hold within ourselves, especially when we're in our female form.
Agreed.
And we hold, the universe has that same place. Mother has that same place as we do. So when we reside there, when we go there, and we claim all of our power back, there's greater power there than we currently understand. I really think so. And I'm in my 60s now. I wish I'd known this a lot sooner.
Yeah, right. But because this is the human experience, we must learn our lessons over and over and over. Broken record, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I'm enjoying bringing back, this is a game changer for me. I don't know if this is happening for you, but when sometimes you'll get triggered. Let's just say hypothetically, you get triggered. You hear a news story, whatever it is, and you get triggered. So here's the trick for me. That might trigger a part of me that had been hurt at some point. And so in the old days, I would say, let's think about it, let's drink about it, let's really, I don't drink anymore. So now I don't do that. So now I'm like, okay, hold the phone, let's stop time for a moment. Let me stop my inner time. Let me reach down into that, to that one that was 12 or 16 or 25 or 30 years old that got hurt. And let me lift that part up. Welcome that part home so that that trigger can serve us instead of living in a world where you try to never get triggered. you know? you know, and let's say you see something and you're not triggered by it, but it makes you sad. You
Uh-huh.
can take the 1 second it takes to say, I say a good prayer for every soul that views that and feels something. I can send a prayer out. I'm a female on a female planet in a female universe. I can call upon a greater sisterhood and ask for this prayer to travel to whoever needs it. That kind of thing. And I think that's why we had so many lifetimes as priestesses, because when I first met Diana, it was in a priestess energy. I remembered her. I recognized Diana. We talked about it. I had a reading with her just so we could talk about, like, I know you. I know we've had walks together. And so many of the people I connect with these days, it's through that. I remember you. We've walked together before. And those priestess energies run deep. Must be for a reason, because you've brought so much remembering with you, and it helps all of us. That's why we all adore you. You help us be more who we are, and it's a blessing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.
But
Yeah, this this knowledge doesn't only come from books, it comes from experience and remembering the experiences of the past. And listening to your elders because they have things to say. And I'm of a generation where, it was still a pot-bellied stove in the kitchen in downtown Detroit. There was a wood stove in Bush's kitchen, and a pot-bellied stove heated the upstairs during the
okay.
winter. And this is
Okay.
in 1950s. This was
Okay.
still going on,
Yeah.
and a coal furnace. And then they finally converted the furnace. But this is, I lived through a lot of that.
Right.
And
Right.
it was a way of life for people who were aging. So they weren't of the finances to upheaval everything and change everything and move a million miles away, especially like some of those, my cousins and grandmother who were still down in the downtown area because they had a business to run. The Seal Test Creamery was right next door. And in the old days, the milk from up here where I am now would go down there for
Okay.
processing right next door to the restaurant bar. And the restaurant served breakfast and lunch, maybe a little late lunch, and then it was all barroom time,
Oh.
and
Okay.
it's the old Polish neighborhood. I went to St.
Oh.
Casimir's high school, but it was
Okay.
an elementary school. My grandmother went there. She went as far as the
Oh.
third grade. That was it. She
Oh,
was in the oldest three of 16 children.
oh my goodness.
So
That's
she
like my
got third
grandma. My
grade.
grandma
That's
had
it.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe she was the fourth oldest. I can't remember because there were 16 kids.
Yeah,
Now, not
that's a
all
lot
of
of
them
kids.
lived.
Mhm.
Some of them died as one died as an infant. A couple died from the influenza of 1917-18. And then one of them died when he was 12 from the flu.
Mhm.
So I think there were 4 deaths. I think
Mhm.
Ronnie and I can account for 12 of 16 kids.
Mhm.
I mean, that we had met along our way.
Yeah.
So, you see the lifestyle that they came from because they're still in that lifestyle.
Right. Right.
And, you got narrow street. The huckster would go up and down the street with a horse-drawn carriage, selling corn and vegetables from out this way.
Yeah.
And that meant he drove all the way down there in his horse and carriage and brought enough with him along the way.
Right. Right.
Or go down to Eastern Market and sell it there, or Western Market and sell it there, or pick up more from there and go up and down with the horse. What we called the well, I don't want to say that word because it's highly inappropriate, but
Okay.
the rag guy, he would pick up rags and old newspapers and brown paper bags. Why? To make more paper.
Mhm.
So that was the norm. We recycled and we weren't even aware that it was a term because it
Yeah.
wasn't a term.
It was a way of life.
My grandfather took off the lids of both ends of all tin cans and crushed them
Mhm.
with his foot and then put that in a separate bag. So the tinsmith could take those. The guy who comes and gets the tin could take that, and that could be recycled and remade and melted down. And all that was a normal way of life because it was a normal way of life at the turn of the century.
Mhm.
You used everything twice.
Well, thinking of recycling, I think I want to point out as we're speaking about energy, because I think there's a reason for this. Energy itself is neutral. So when we call our power back and our energy back from things, whether it was yesterday, an hour ago, or last week, or 40 years ago, the energy itself is neutral. So we're not calling back anything that would harm us. We're calling back our own energy. And the more that we do that, it's not a gift just to ourselves. We're healing generationally as we do that. And I gotta say, there's no one cheering us on louder than our ancestors
Right?
who watch us live in this walk. They see all the things we've seen in our lifetimes, everything that has changed, how our awareness is grown and it continues to grow. And they cheer us on
Yeah.
because maybe in their walk they only got to do it a little bit. Or
Yeah.
maybe they only got to wake up at the very, very, very end of their life. So to see us doing it on purpose, they are thrilled to pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because they didn't live by industry.
Mhm.
At least my family did not. Some people did, yes, but my family did not. So my grandfather was a carpenter, but he had to do many things, right?
Mhm.
And my grandmother had been a telephone operator and a beautician in the days of Marcella waves. If you've ever seen pictures of women who have this cone head helmet on with wires coming down into it, that's a Marcella wave, which is
I
really
remember you talking about that the
a
other
home
day.
permanent, right?
Yeah.
It's only you couldn't get that at home. There was no such thing as home permanence at that time. So you had to go to the beauty shop to get that Marcella wave. And you'll see that with that finger wave that so many of uh, ads from the 30s have. The gay 90s, the flappers, when everybody started bobbing their hair. That was so that you could get this finger wave. It was very cool. Anyway, I digress.
It did look cool. I like watching it in period pieces.
Yeah.
And it was it was amazing when it happened. It changed everything.
Yeah.
But we're continuing that in a deeper way now, where we are now in 2026. And in some ways we're just as backwards, still learning the same lesson over and over and over again. And in other ways we're quite progressive. So it's kind of like you can go in either way you'd like.
There's something, the only way you can change it is to just stop doing it. Nobody
I'd like
else
to
goes.
go.
You can't convince anybody else till they come to that realization on their own.
That's true. That's true. And there was something when I first started coming to YouTube, I went to so many chat rooms asking, what's my gift? What's my gift? What's my gift? Do you know what my gift is? And I shared this recently, and I think it's worth sharing again, is I really don't have any clear idea what my gift is, but I'm no longer interested in asking other people what it is. I want to find it for myself.
Yeah.
Because in every life that we are born into, every single life, we have if we have the audacity, we can go as far and as we'd like.
This is
We
so,
could, we have to have the audacity to do it. We have to be willing to remake parts of ourselves. We
yeah,
have to be willing to let some things go in
right.
order to embrace new ways of being. And I think we're about to learn that on a societal level.
Yeah.
As this regime goes down the toilet, I think we're going to get a really good up close and personal chance to learn how to do this as a society. And so we're exactly where we need to be, all of us. We're exactly who we need to be and where we need to be. Um, it's a wild ride. This walk is a wild ride.
Right. So
Yeah, yeah.
the remembering, we all have that ability. But it comes from paying attention to what's going on around you, which is, what do you say all the time? Beware of your environment, beware of what's around you.
Yeah.
Measure it up and tell the story and put a bubble around it and all that stuff. That's nothing new. That's been going on for a long time. It's your area of self-protection, right?
Mhm.
Just like this Carlos, there were 7, 8 women that followed him.
I didn't know that until today, everyone. I didn't realize that he had a cult until we were talking, and I didn't know about it until
Well, but
today.
see, I
So,
lived through it.
but
I
I'm not
I
surprised.
I
I'm not surprised.
witnessed it in the news
Yeah,
back in the
yeah,
day. You know, um, what's her name? The one with whose remains were found.
yeah.
Um,
On Death Valley, right? That's the one
right
you were
in
telling me
Death
about?
Valley. That was 2003, but she had disappeared in
Yeah,
93. So she was already gone like 20
yeah,
years.
yeah.
So, all of them disappeared. All of them disappeared. They took his ashes and took off together. And that
Hmm.
one in particular abandoned her car at Death Valley and
Mhm.
walked into the desert to go to die.
Meet her end.
Is it
I don't
because
know
she
about
was so in
Taisha
love with him,
Ablar.
or feeling so guilty? So, you
I'll
never
have to
know.
look to see what happened to Taisha Ablar, because that's the only one I ever heard of, and she's the one that wrote that book, The Sorcerer's Crossing.
Yeah.
That helped me. That helped me to learn how to call back with
And,
intent, how to call back my own power,
and maybe
um,
that was her.
and never leak it and try never to leak it again. You know,
Well,
because
and she might be the one. Um, I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry about that.
that's okay. It's okay. Taisha Ablar. Yeah.
Patricia Parton is the one who was found in the
Okay.
desert.
Okay. Well,
Um,
I don't know if it matters anymore, but I'll do that off screen. I'll look up and see what became of Taisha.
and Amy Wallace is another one who wrote a lot of books. She wrote
Oh,
The Sorcerer's Apprentice, My Life with Carlos Castanedas.
never
And,
heard of her.
I mean,
Did she
when they
expose all
wrote
the
it at the
lion?
time, they all disappeared together. So they wrote it at
Yeah.
the time that they were with him. Because he
Oh,
died in 76, they took his ashes and disappeared.
wow.
Have never been found except for one, Patricia.
Wow. That blows my mind. I'm gonna have
Right.
to do a little research on that
Right.
one.
So
Fine.
remember,
But
guru means, gee, you are you.
yeah, you are you. Well, I'd like to, because we don't really have enough time to do readings, but I would like to, if you don't mind, if you would support me in this, I would like to do a real short meditation
Sure.
to call our power back. And I'd like to share the time with you. So I'm going to go for a couple of minutes and then I'm going to hand it over to you. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, because you have something to add too, and it's just vital and important that we both do this together. I don't know why, we're just supposed to, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So everyone, please bring your palms together as they represent all of your chakras. Okay? Duality, spirit and matter, bringing those together. Holding these, please, at your high heart. And bringing your hands up above your head, like so. Looks a little bit silly, but it isn't. We're connecting with the Star Nation, with Creator, and we're bringing that energy and bringing our hands back to our heart level. And if you wish, you may place your hands just so, one hand over the other, over your high heart. I am sacred. Breathe that in. I release any energy that is not mine. 100% divine light in me. 100% divine light around me to surround me. In all directions, in all dimensions, in all lifetimes, in all timelines, in all realms. 100% divine light through me, so I may share my gifts and inspire others and rise with Mother as she ascends. And putting your hands back together, because I believe Mother is ascending and we with her. I believe that we are all here on purpose, together. Thank goodness. Taking this journey together back to wholeness, back to remembering who we are. And now grounding that energy, you can put your hands on your knees, give them a little rub on your knees, grounding this energy into Mother Earth. Bringing yourself back to the current moment. And now, well, let's listen to what Diana has to say.
Your inner child is ever present. Remember everything you can about your childhood. There are some great stories in there. There are great rememberings in there. There is great value in everything you have experienced. It offers you protection. It offers you wisdom. It offers you discernment. It offers you growth. It offers you the deepest inhale, the power of you for you. As we walk along the path that is your idea, your choice, your vision, your ability to manifest renews itself daily. And as we continue, we find an orb that not only surrounds us, but has us traveling, cyclical, spiral, volleying, protected. Please place us in a steady stream of divine white light, the white light of divine guidance and divine grace. Michael, Wrap your blue bubble of protection around us that shrinks to fit while we step into the healing teal green orb of Raphael that floats and shares and spreads and transfers the divine white light, the white light of divine guidance and divine grace. And shall we illuminate the world? So mote it be.
And so it is.
Rub your hands together.
Thank you. That was wonderful, my dear. That was wonderful.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Hey, Marit. Thank you.
Yours was great too.
Oh,
Well, it
thank
was a
you.
perfect lead-in.
Thank you. Thank you. We work well together. Well, thank you for this time today. This was a blast. We never quite know where we're going, but we know it's going to be a good ride.
It was. We got there. We got
Yep.
there.
We got
And
there.
look, the sun is trying to stay out.
Is it?
So I see blue patches. Maybe we'll get past
Oh.
these gray days here.
Are you done weeding for the day?
Am I done for the day?
Done weeding? Yeah.
Oh, I haven't begun because I was waiting to hear about my car, which is
Oh.
why I didn't get here at the half hour mark, because I
Yeah.
was going to come early and sit down, whatever.
Yeah.
But then he called and I can't pick it up till tomorrow, but he said it's
okay.
excellent condition.
Oh, good.
It's just everything is going smoothly. There was
Good.
like last year I had new seals put on the engine. They had to pull
Yeah.
the engine and the trans out for that. Well,
Yeah.
the seal at the trans didn't last.
Oh.
And so it was warranty work. So
Oh, good.
they
Because that
had
can
to
get
fix
really
that,
expensive.
right? So they had
Yeah.
to fix that end. And Subi Doo is getting a hip replacement. She's
Oh, that's
literally
right.
right. She's four-wheel
That's
drive.
right.
She's got 2 half axles in the front, right, and 2 in the back. So her front axles are being replaced. Got to get a
Good.
little parking light in the front, and
Okay.
one other thing, can't remember what that was. Oh, new spark plugs.
Oh,
Nothing's
good
better
idea.
than new spark plugs, and
I
I've
know.
never given her new spark plugs before.
I used to do my own. I used
Did
to do
ya?
my own. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, file them and fix them.
Yeah. Years ago, I used to do my own oil, and somebody taught me how to do my spark plugs.
Yeah,
But yeah, I even did a timing engine once, a timing chain. Took 3 days. It was
Oh.
like surgery out in the front
Oh.
yard.
the timing
Yeah.
in the old days. Oh my gosh, no! I watched all the boys in the neighborhood were into cars and motorcycles, so I was around
Yeah.
that stuff all the time and learning and listening. My dad was always fixing the car. My brothers were always helping him. But to actually do it, no, I don't have any interest.
No, I had to
I
be
can't
coached.
say that, but no,
I
don't
only
want-
learned
don't
because I
wanna
didn't
get
have
dirty
money.
like that. I'd rather get dirty with bread dough, thank you.
Yeah, I only learned when I was skint and didn't have the money to have somebody fix it. So then I'd learn how to do it myself. But thank you everyone for being with us. This was
Yeah.
so fun. I look forward to our meeting again next month. It'll be great. So everyone have a wonderful afternoon, and please do all the YouTubey stuff on both of our channels.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye for now, folks.
Love you all. I love
Love
you
you.
all. I love you, Annie. I love
Love
everybody.
you. Bye.
Bye.